Once upon a time, there lived two princes in stunning castle. Even though they shared the same parents, the same home, and led similar lives, the sisters couldn't have been more different. The older sister was a mean and selfish girl. She called the castle servants horrible names and threw tantrums whenever she didn't get her way. The younger sister was sweet and kind. She had a big heart and was nice to everyone she met. One day, the older sister took a stroll through the castle gardens by herself. She was playing with her favorite toy, a small spear made of pure gold. The princess practiced tossing it into the air and catching it. She accidentally dropped it into a small pond and it sank to the bottom. "Oh no," the older sister said. "I never received it." Right when she turns to head back to the castle, a frog leaped out of the pond, clutching the golden pool in his mouth. "Hello, princess," he said. "I believe this belongs to you." "That was nice of you," she said. "Is there anything I could give you in return?" A soft lily paid to lie on, or a nice jar of lice. "Actually, there is something you could give me. Sometimes I desire very much," the frog said. "A kiss would much appreciated." The older princess was distinguished that frog would request something too disturbing. To teach him a lesson, she picked him by the leg and threw him against a brick wall in the garden. "How dare you ask such a thing from a prince?" she said and walked away. The younger princess had been watching the whole thing from a tower. She hurried outside to see if the frog was hurt. "You poor thing," the younger princess said. "I'm terribly sorry she did that to you. Will you be all right?" "Oh yes, I'll be perfectly fine," the frog said. "My sister can be cured," she said. "Perhaps I could make it up." "I'd be delighted to give you a kiss." The younger princess placed the frog in the palm of her hand and raised him up to her face. She kissed the frog's lips and set him back on the ground. "There you," she said. "I hope you have a lovely—" Suddenly the frog began to twist and turn. He shimmed and he shook. His body stretched to 10 times his size, and his green skin peeled away. The frog magically transformed into the handsomest young man the young princess had ever seen. "Good heavens!" the young princess gasped. "You are a man!" "Indeed," he said. "I was once the prince of a powerful kingdom." All the ponds and the lakes froze over, and the ugly duckling had nowhere to go. A farmer found him shivering in the cold and took pity on the poor bird. He wrapped him up in a cloth and took him home. "Poor little fellow, let's take you someplace warm," he said. The farmer's house was lovely and a warm escape from the cold. He and his wife were kind to the ugly duckling, and they had no other pets he needed to worry about. However, they had two very ambitious children who became his biggest concern. The children treated the ugly duckling like a toy. They drew him around, pulled his feathers, and dressed him up in clothes meant for a doll. The abuse became so bad, the ugly duckling thought he was better off living in the cold, so he left the farmer's house. The ugly duckling traveled to a frozen lake and spent the rest of the winters alone in a small cave beside it. It was a disheartening time for him. After all his travels, he still didn't have a home or a family. He had turned into a lone duck, and in the bird world, it didn't get any worse. Eventually spring came and melted the ice covering the lake. The ugly duckling had grown so much inside the cave that he could barely crawl out of it. He floated around the lake and stretched his wings. When suddenly he heard a voice call to him. "Oh, hello there," it said. "You must be looking for us." The ugly duckling turned toward the voice and saw the flocks of swans had returned for spring. "Come join us over here," a swan said. "You want me to join you?" the ugly duckling asked. "Of course we do," the swan said. "After all, you are one of us." The ugly duckling looked into the water and was shocked to see the reflection staring back at him. He had feathers as white as snow and a long, curvy neck. He had grown into a beautiful swan. "I've been so ugly my whole life," he said. "How is it possible? We all have an awkward face when we're young," the swan said. "But without it, we never grow our wings." The swan promptly knew that the ugly duckling lived with the other swans for the rest of his life. At the end of the year, when his family flew south for the winters, he made a point to fly over his old farm so all the animals could see him. The ugly duckling they had missed was soaring at heights they could never reach. Thank you for watching.